My life was measured in heartbeats and scent trails. I'm Beckett. I'm a lead handler for an urban search and rescue task force. My world is the hot zone, the immediate aftermath of a disaster where every second is a literal life. I work with Bear, a 70-pound Belgian Malinois who can find a human pulse through 10 feet of reinforced concrete. I am a man of stone and silence. I have to be. If I feel too much, I can't do the job. The variable in my current mission was Jace. Jace was a civilian contractor, a spatial imaging specialist sent by the tech company that manufactured our new thermal drones. He was thin, fast-talking, and looked like he hadn't slept since the earthquake hit the city 12 hours ago. He was constantly hovering over his tablet, adjusting frequencies, and complaining about the interference from the rebar. "You're too close to the edge, kid," I'd told him as we navigated the twisted skeleton of the Miller Plaza. "I need the line of sight for the sensors, Beckett," he'd shot back, his voice tight with a nervous energy that set my teeth on edge. "If I don't get the drone into that sub-basement void, we're guessing." "I don't like guessing." "I don't care what you like. Follow the dog, or stay behind the perimeter." The disaster happened during a massive aftershock. It wasn't a tremor, it was a violent, upward jolt that felt like the earth was trying to spit us out. We were in the parking garage, 3 levels down, searching for a group of trapped office workers. The world turned into a kaleidoscope of falling dust and screaming metal. I dove for Jace, tackling him into a narrow gap between 2 concrete pillars just as the ceiling of the level above us gave way. Then, there was the silence. The heavy, suffocating silence of being buried alive. I woke up to the smell of pulverized concrete and the taste of copper in my mouth. My headlamp was cracked, casting a flickering, strobing white light across a space no larger than a walk-in closet. Bear was whimpering nearby, pinned under a piece of drywall but otherwise okay. And then there was Jace. He was curled into a ball against the far pillar, his drone controller smashed on the floor. He wasn't screaming. He was doing something much worse. He was hyperventilating, short, shallow gasps that were eating up the limited oxygen in our pocket of air. "Jace," I rasped, my voice sounding like I'd swallowed glass. "Jace, look at me." He didn't look. He was staring at the tons of concrete hanging inches above our heads. His eyes were wide, the pupils blown, his hands clawing at his own chest. He was having a full-blown panic attack, the kind that kills you in a low-oxygen environment. I crawled over to him, my own ribs screaming in protest. I tried to grab his shoulders, but he flinched, a raw, animal sound escaping his throat. "We're going to die," he whispered, his voice a frantic, high-pitched thread. "We're buried. There's no signal. No one knows we're here." "I know we're here," I said, my voice low and firm, the tone I used to calm Bear during a high-stress find. "Look at me, Jace. Right now." I didn't give him a choice. I reached out and grabbed his wrists, pulling his hands away from his chest. They were ice-cold and shaking so violently it felt like his bones were vibrating. I didn't kiss him. That wasn't what he needed. He needed a tether. I pulled his hands onto my own chest, right over my heart. I pressed them there, hard, making him feel the steady, rhythmic thud beneath my tactical vest. "Feel that?" I commanded. "That's one pulse. Just one. Focus on it." He tried to pull away, his breathing still jagged, but I held him there. I shifted, sitting with my back against the pillar and pulling him into the space between my legs. I wrapped my arms around him from behind, pinning his hands to my chest and pulling him flush against my body. "Breathe with me," I whispered into his ear. "In for 4. Out for 4. Do it, Jace." We sat there in the flickering light of the broken headlamp. I used my body as a cage for his panic. I could feel his heart hammering like a trapped bird against the back of my hand. I squeezed him tighter, my own heat soaking into his shivering frame. 1, I counted, my voice a low rumble against his spine. 2, 3, 4. Slowly, agonizingly, the vibration in his limbs began to settle. His breathing shifted from sharp gasps to long, shuddering sighs. The panic didn't vanish, but it folded, tucked away under the sheer physical weight of my presence. He went limp against me, his head falling back against my shoulder. I didn't let go. I kept my hands over his, kept the rhythm of my heart loud and clear for him to hear. "Better?" I asked. You're so warm," he whispered, his voice finally steady. "How are you so warm?" "Adrenaline and stubbornness," I said. He turned his head slightly, his face inches from mine in the gloom. The flickering light caught the silver tracks of tears through the dust on his cheeks. He reached up, his fingers trembling, and touched the side of my neck, feeling the pulse there with his own skin. It wasn't a romantic gesture, it was a survival check. A grounding. He needed to know that life was still happening in the dark. "Stay with me," he breathed, his eyes searching mine. "Don't let go. If you let go, I'm going to float away." "I've got you, Jace," I said, my voice a fierce, low vow. "I'm the anchor. I don't let go." We sat there, huddled together in the wreckage of the world, two strangers turned into a single unit of survival. The air was thin, the city was in ruins, but in that small, dusty void, the only thing that mattered was the heat of the body pressed against mine and the steady, unbreakable rhythm of a heart that refused to stop.